Rick, Cleveland ran through Miami. What stands out about what they did in that first round, the challenges they'll present for you guys?
Well, they've been dominant in the East all year. What they did to Miami is daunting, really. From a precision basis, I mean, they're as precise as any team in the league. The preparation has got to be very detailed and very precise, and everything has got to be on point. Our communication's got to be great. They have attackers really at all positions. Even their bigs are playmakers, and so it's a great challenge. And I also just want to say it's two great cities. Indianapolis and Cleveland are both great cities and very underrated cities, and so it's I've been to Cleveland enough time. Their fan base is rabid, and their building is one of the loudest, and so it's going to be a high level of competition.
How much more difficult does prep become given how many guys are out in these matchups during the regular season? How much can you actually draw from those?
Not much. I mean, I've watched them a lot all year and watched their Miami series pretty closely, and they're deep, they're talented, well coached, and look, they're going to be very hungry, and so we certainly have got to match all the hunger elements of this thing. And when you get to the second round of the playoffs, things elevate. The level of competition elevates, the stage elevates. A lot of things to be excited about, and a lot of things about the challenge to love.
I know a couple weeks ago you were.
Go ahead.
How has DeAndre Hunter changed what they do? Obviously, you saw him in the last 2 games. You haven't seen him with the entirety of that group. How has he changed their whole dynamic?
Well, yeah, they have 2 guys off the bench that are both finalists for sixth man. I mean, that's really strong. Jerome has had an amazing year, and they both went to a big university. I should mention that. Yeah. And it just heightens the challenge. It really does. And the other part of their second unit is one of their 2 bigs. So you're either getting the defensive player of the year and an all-star, or you're getting another guy that probably was right there to be all-star too, with Allen. So there's a lot to prepare for. We can't over-prepare, from the standpoint of trying to defend every last little thing. But when you're facing off against great players and a great team that's been so precise, it's a great challenge.
I know a couple weeks ago you talked about how balanced their team was, and I want to ask you about Donovan Mitchell. Just what is it about him that really concerns you as you get ready for this tough series?
Well, I mean, just go look at Game 2 of the Miami series. Miami was playing a great game. They were hanging in. I think they had a lead, and Mitchell just elevated his game, their game, and I think he had 17 in the fourth quarter, and and from then on they completely dominated the series, and they didn't have Garland in the last 2 games, So, look, we know they're good. They know they're good. These 2 days of preparation, we just really have to prepare ourselves prepare our team for the environment and the heightened level of intensity, and all those kinds of things. And we've got to play our game better than they played their game.
Rick, you've been around some players as a player and coach who had the ability to elevate their level of play in close moments in the playoffs. You've got a couple guys on this team who have done the same. Do you find a common thread there with those players who had that ability to rise to the occasion as opposed to going the other way?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is how they're built internally. What their mindset is. How they view the game. how they drive themselves to prepare for those kinds of moments. And certainly Tyrese and Pascal have had a lot of those moments in the playoffs the last 2 years. So, I was fortunate to play with Larry Bird and Cale and Parrish and Dennis Johnson and Bill Walton and those guys. I had the privilege of coaching Reggie Miller and Luka Doncic, in a series where he was, for a 10 or 11 day period, like he was the best player in the world, in 21. And so some of it's the wiring, certainly some of it's the talent level and the ability to raise their game. But it's the thing that defines this time of year. This time of year, those players, they elevate. They elevate. So this will be a great challenge for us, and should be a great series.
We're talking a lot about Drew's just overall performance being better in the playoffs. What do you think his shot is so much? He did to close the year. I mean, it was 50% from three. He's going to
Well, we're all men, not machines, and if everything was judged simply on the result, every moment of the day, every day of the week, every week of the month, I think we'd all have a lot of disappointment. But Drew is a process-oriented guy. He had an uneven start to the season because of injury, and so I think that affects rhythm. But he stayed with it, and he had some lags headed into the postseason last year, and then I think last year he would end up being the highest percentage three-point shooter in the playoffs. So he's a guy that with a strong will, with a strong belief in himself and the work that he puts in, and he has just simply stayed with it.
Yes, and here you are in the next round of this NBA playoffs. How much are you looking forward to this opportunity against this top seed in the Cavs?
That's a great question. I'm just going out there and playing my game, just helping my team out. I feel like in the playoffs, it's really about doing what's working. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to do too much. Don't try to do more than, Like the summer is the summer, the season is season, but the playoffs is also the playoffs. So just going out there and trying to do everything I can to help my team win. I think my defense in the first round was pretty solid. So just going out there and playing hard defense and just being there for my team.
I wanted to go back to that because you mentioned the defense. I know you were jamming up Kevin Porter a lot, basically covering 94 feet. I mean, how did you like just your development and that as a full court defender or somebody getting up into somebody and guarding them like that? What stood out to you about just the way that you played defense?
It just proved me that I can do that. I can do that every night. Obviously I came into the league. Defense was not the main strength. I think in the playoffs I've been able to prove that I can be as good offensively as I am defensively. So I'm taking different roles. Just taking the advantage to go out there and for people that I am a two-way player, and I want to be one of the best two-way players in the game. So I feel like it's a right step in the right direction.
What else did you not like about your first series? What was your kind of personal evaluation?
My first what?
Your personal evaluation for how you played in the whole series.
For me, it's just about making shots. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the gym a lot this week. Just trying to be out there. Sometimes it's hard because I'm battling through injuries and stuff. I'm never a quitter. You know what I'm saying? If I sprain my ankle, I want to be back the next game. I want to get back. Sometimes it's good to have a little bit of time off to reset and just be mentally good, physically good, and the rest gonna be history.
How important is it to fall back on all of that when you're going against a team that neither team has been at full strength when you guys have played each other, which is unique for a divisional opponent?
Sure. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of surprises. But two great teams. They were the first team in the East in the whole season, but we're also the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going out there thinking that we are the best team. We know that situations are not going to be easy. But playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You go out there, you win the game, and it's all about winning every game.
What do you appreciate about what you're seeing from your teammates right now as you guys get ready for the Cavs and just how you've been able to get it done here in the hardwood?
You know, I think the biggest thing is that everybody has their mind at the right spot. You know what I'm saying? And no one's just like stepping out of line and be like, you know what, I'm trying to get mine today. You know, I'm trying to do this and do that. It's really about the team, and I feel like it's been working pretty well. So our main goal is to win a championship, and I feel like that goal is pretty reachable.
You were really excited about playing in the playoffs before the first round. How did that experience compare to what you hoped it would be?
I mean, it's great. This is just the first round. You know, there's a lot of things I would want to say in order to compare it to how I really feel, but this is gonna be Sunday gonna be my sixth game. This is my sixth playoff game. You know, and it feels like it's still my first game. That's how excited I am. So I'm just going out there, like I said, just playing as hard as I can and win the game.
I think Rick told us at one point you were having trouble eating and sleeping. How have you recovered from that?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, I have a great staff who's taking care of me. I'm doing recovery as well and taking care of my body.
This team has had some incredible comebacks. What does that do for you as far as your mentality? Just when you're on the floor, you guys are, and you find yourself down, how much do you go back to those moments like we saw in this series where you're able to come back with victories?
Great question. You know, like I said, our ability to have a lot of guys on the team who can play and who can perform. You know, TJ was unbelievable in Game 6. You know what I'm saying? And in the short amount of time that he played, he was very, very impactful. But then, you know, we had Ty, who made a lot of great shots. Aaron, who had a lot of, you know, rebounds and stuff like that. Just little things that we can all do to have the team win at the end of the day. It's great for the team.